guys, welcome back to F1 Podcast. We're up to 77. Thanks very much for tuning in. And Max, we're here to talk about Valencia, so let's get straight to it, mate. We've seen the race. What were your thoughts on it?
Great circuit, fantastic atmosphere.
Wasn't it?
Boring race in my opinion.
I thought that about the atmosphere, Max. I thought
the atmosphere was great.
Having a whole lot of people around the harbour. You know, I love the normal circuit. You know, where you're out in the countryside often somewhere, but just having that atmosphere, that music and fireworks and things going on.
And they got screwed because their main man was taken out in the first lap. But that's a story for a moment.
Yes, but you're right, mate. You touched on it. It was quite a boring race. Overtaking, really. There was no safety cars. I couldn't believe that. No safety cars. I was really expecting a few of those.
I think some of the teams were expecting that as well. There are a couple of initially one-stoppers out there, and safety car just didn't eventuate. Yeah, pretty strange to see.
Yeah, and I also just love seeing a new circuit. It's always good to see a fresh circuit, the one you haven't seen before. And so the atmosphere was there, and all the Spaniards were there, building up. I said to you before, mate.
Those crazy Spaniards were in their own country. That's outrageous.
They had their beers. They were there on the edge of their seats. The race started. They were waiting, and then it was like, "Where's Fernando?"
Yeah, the ITV feed panned around to the crowd. There's all these crazy Spaniards in Renault garb, and they were all going, "What? What?" Oh, it was heartbreaking to see, but
I couldn't believe it, Max.
Sympathise with you, hombres.
I was the same. I was just saying, how pissed off would you be? You know, as Nakajima just took him out. I think he was channeling his old man.
Satoru.
He was thinking about good old Satoru and just punted him from behind.
Oh, he hit him.
And all the fans, I mean, Martin Brundle, at least in the ITV commentary, said, well, they haven't left yet, and I don't think any of them did, and because they're huge F1 fans.
But I tell you what, if you're going to take out a former double world champion, then you really want to smash his suspension, his gearbox, and his rear wing up.
Take that off.
You don't just want to take the rear wing.
Yeah.
You want to hit him and hit him hard.
Yeah.
And Nakajima did exactly that. I felt so sorry for Alonso and for the fans, mate. This is it.
And Fernando was pretty pragmatic, saying, well, we could have gone out and tried to make something of it, but as you said, Max, so many things were broken that there was just no way.
Well, yeah, he initially thought he could have gone back out there for the fans, but then he got the tap on the shoulder. It's like, mate, this thing is terminal.
Yeah.
You're not going back out. But, that happens in motorsport, mate.
It does, and really that was the most interesting thing from the start of the race, because then, Massa could have kind of run away with it.
Sure did.
And there wasn't, like I said, there wasn't much overtaking or safety cars or accidents or anything like that. And even the GP2 race had quite a lot of overtaking. I thought there would have been a bit more, Max, but there was none of that.
I guess not with the speed of these cars. I mean,
and the aero and all the
look, you'd agree that racing around here in GP2 is considerably different than racing around here in a fun car. I'm not overly surprised. I mean, it seems to be the thing of modern Formula One tracks that overtaking is at an absolute premium. It'd be terrific to see an upcoming circuit having plenty of overtaking opportunities. But it remains to be seen. And either way, I thought again that Valencia put on a wonderful Grand Prix and terrific atmosphere.
Yeah, and also the Spanish producer actually showed the glamour of Formula One quite a lot during the coverage. I was enjoying
Finally.
It. Yes.
Finally someone's taken up the mantle.
Yes. Now, Max, really the biggest thing from the race was Ferrari in their pit stops. I mean, what else is there to talk about the race except for the fact that Ferrari had this pit stop action?
Two disastrous pit stops, man.
And the shoes there on the pit wall, he must have been saying, what the hell's going on? Because Ferrari's,
hard in mouth.
Yeah, because Ferrari's always known for, the way they are.
Their pit stop expertise.
Exactly, yeah, and the surgical, precision. Geez, they stuffed it up, mate.
Well, it's interesting that, the first issue was Felipe being released and Adrian Sutil and the Force India already on his merry way down pit straight. And he claims that he never saw Massa, and I'm not overly surprised by that, because Massa came from the right-hand side.
And he was skidding along at 80 kilometres an hour, I believe, in that circuit.
But interesting that the supposed penalty was overheld until after the conclusion of the race, and Ferrari themselves got fined €10,000, but Felipe escaped with nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have expected a little bit more from Ferrari as far as when they would release a driver is concerned. But then again, I say that we've had the calamity with Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah, well, with Massa, I was dead set against them penalising him as a driver. During the race, they were talking about maybe him getting a penalty, a stop-go or something like that. And as far as I'm concerned, he was released by the team, and he was released early. I don't think Sutil was at fault at all.
No,
he was just scooting along doing his own thing, and Massa was behind him at the end of the day. So the team, the lollipop or the light, let him go at the wrong time. So I don't think that Felipe should have been penalised. Certainly not when he was leading the race and there's a championship at stake. Ferrari just made a mistake as far as I'm concerned.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And look, €10,000 to Ferrari is drop in the ocean, of course, but it doesn't belie the fact that in our humble opinion they made a mistake and let Felipe go potentially a little bit early, and we saw what happened. But that wasn't the biggest pit stop drama, mate.
Well, Ferrari made the mistake in that one, but as far as I can see, Kimi made the mistake in the other problem. That poor guy in the pits got slammed from behind, but Kimi went early.
Yes, it was Pietro Timpini. Basically got run over by Kimi.
Yeah.
Right, but Kimi, to his credit, has stuck his hand up and said that he left a little bit early.
Yeah.
We know Ferrari have the light system as far as, in place of a lollipop man.
Yeah.
And it seems to have not worked in this given juncture, but good on Kimi for sticking his hand up and saying, look, I think I left a little bit early.
Yeah, and he's totally right. So Ferrari just had those. It was just strange having two incidents with both drivers during the one race. But
that's very Ferrari, unlike Ferrari, I should say.
They got away with it by winning the race.
Sure did.
Yeah,
and that was good as well, because I thought it was wonderful that Felipe won the race made after the bitter disappointment of Hungary when he retired 3 laps from the end. So to me, this is justice.
In the last 3 laps, I was thinking, Felipe must have been thinking the same thing. Come on, the last race was just a little raw, and I was glad that he won it. He did really well to win it as well, so I'm pleased for Felipe.
It does concern me though, mate, that Kimi had an engine failure as well, and this is 2 races that Ferrari have had engine failures. This is once again, it's not like them.
Yes, in the engine freeze. Yeah,
it was cause for concern, mate.
Yeah, mechanical problems when they shouldn't be changing the engine, but anyway. So, with Felipe winning the race, Max, it really meant for me, and there's been some talk about it on the internet, that with Ferrari, what are they going to do now? Because there's a lot of momentum with Felipe, and Kimi, I keep tipping him to sort of win the race or turn it around, and Felipe is now leading the charge. And when will Ferrari back him? I think probably they'll wait a few more races and see what happens, especially with the next race.
Mate, it begs the question. I mean, there's 6 races to go. Felipe has proven in the last 2 races, not only in winning this, but almost winning Hungary, that he's on song at the moment. And unfortunately, Kimi's had a couple of bare cupboard races where nothing's really been happening for him. Admittedly, his engine failed this race, but I think the next couple of races will be definitive as to who Ferrari back for the championship, because it's going to become potentially, it could come down to mathematics, and if that's the case, I'd be very interested to see who Ferrari back.
Yeah, for me it's a little early to back one or the other, but they will at some point, and if Felipe keeps doing what he's doing.
Potentially they will. Hopefully Kimi will come back and, in the next couple of races. I mean, look, anything can happen. I mean, we saw last year with Kimi 20 points behind with a couple of races to go. Lewis had a couple of incidents that, damaged his chances of winning the 07 World Championship.
Yeah.
There's no reason to believe that won't happen this year. I mean, the championship is so tight. Anything can happen.
Even the times at the last Grand Prix, so close.
Yeah, there was nothing.
Yeah.